Want to plan out an awesome week-long itinerary that your family's never going to forget? We're taking you on a 7-day journey with us today to give you a few ideas. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. A week in Disney World is going to become your best family vacation, but that doesn't get achieved through a lack of planning. So today we're going to take you through each and every day of this 7-day getaway so you can see how to pull off a giant trip like this and do so successfully. So let's skip to the good part. Now, disclaimer, during today's itinerary, I will be talking about lightning lanes and how you can use them once their new changes go into effect on July 24th, 2024. We've got a whole video out now talking in depth about what these changes are going to entail, but in short, basically you'll soon be able to pre-select lightning lanes before your visit. I'll talk about that a bit more all throughout today's video, but just keep in mind if you're watching the video before these changes take place, then Disney will still be using the old Genie Plus service up until July 23rd. So if your trip is going to happen before the changes, be sure to check out our past Genie Plus videos to find out how to best use this service while it's still around. Day 1. Pretend that you've already driven or flown into the Disney bubble the day before so we can wake up for day 1 and get right into the parks. And this time we're starting in Magic Kingdom because that seems like a good park to set the mood for your whole trip, right? The one with the Cinderella Castle. But since we got 7 days to spend inside the Disney bubble, we're going to ease into things and only do a half day in Magic Kingdom for now. Don't worry, we'll come back to this park, but for day 1, we're simply going to stick around the Fantasyland, Frontierland, and Adventureland areas. At the beginning of the day, before the clock strikes 7, you're going to want to grab a virtual queue for Tiana's Bayou Adventure on your My Disney Experience app, if a virtual queue is still available for it during your visit. Virtual queues for those new and popular rides go live twice daily for all visits, once at 7 a.m. and once at 1 p.m. But they do book up fast, so you'll want to be up and at 'em before then. Now, if you don't get into the virtual queue that morning, you can always try again at 1 p.m. Unfortunately, because you'll have another day in Magic Kingdom during your trip, you got a bit of safety net right there to try again later. Or if you want to skip the virtual queue hassle altogether, you can always purchase Disney Genie Plus starting at midnight the day of your visit and make your first lightning lane selection for Tiana's right at 7 a.m. Or if you want to skip the virtual queue hassle altogether, you can always purchase a lightning lane multi-pass and choose Tiana's Bayou Adventure as one of your pre-selected options. In this new multi-pass system, you'll be able to make up to 3 lightning lane selections in a park in advance of your visit. Additionally, you'll be able to choose available times as you make your attraction selections. Disney's also introducing, or reintroducing, shall we say, a tiered system for ride selections, which is what the former FastPass Plus system used. And Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and Disney's Hollywood Studios, from those 3 advanced selections, you'll be able to choose 1 experience from a higher tiered group, those are the more popular rides, and 2 experiences, or all 3 if you want, from a lower tiered group. Tiana's part of that higher tiered group, so you could select her ride before your trip takes place, just to make sure you've got it locked in. Disney World hotel guests and guests of other select hotels will be able to purchase Lightning Lane passes starting at 7 a.m. 7 days in advance of their first park day for their entire stay up to 14 days. All other park guests may purchase Lightning Lane passes at 7 a.m. 3 days in advance of their first park day. But we're going to pretend for the sake of this itinerary that you did snag that virtual queue spot, good for you, and you do a little celebratory dance with the family, and it's time to get up and get dressed and start making your way to the park for early theme park entry. Early theme park entry is available for all Disney World hotel guests and allows you to enter any Disney park on any day 30 minutes before the general public has the chance to go, which means you'll have a nice head start. This is also a good time to jump into the Main Street Cinema to see if you can be the lucky chosen guest to pick out the director's hat of the day. That's where you're going to choose a hat in the shop to be displayed on the shop mannequin all day long, and you'll get your name displayed on the director's hat of the day sign too. Just keep in mind that the only areas that are going to be open in Magic Kingdom during this early entry time are going to be Fantasyland and Space Mountain. So we'll hit up Fantasyland and get in line for Peter Pan's flight first, since that's one of the rides that can see the longest waits during the day. Remember, don't stress about rushing through everything. We've built in time to really take it all in at a speed you're comfortable with. And if that means you want to get a free glittery pixie dusting over at Sir Mickey's gift shop, and or if you want to stop and smell the elephants during your day, go for it. I promise that's not weird. That's literally a thing you can do in Storybook Circus right now. Smell-a-fints on parade. Now, this also means we're going to hold off on riding Seven Dwarfs Mine Train for now, since the line for this little coaster gets really long really fast. While you're in Fantasyland making the rounds through all the rides, like It's a Small World, Under the Sea, Journey of the Little Mermaid, Barnstormer, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and Prince Charming Regal Carousel, you might want to stop in between ride-throughs to grab some breakfast. For something savory, stop by the Friar's Nook to get a breakfast sandwich or some loaded sausage and gravy tots. Or if you want something sweet, head to Gaston's Tavern instead for one of those warm cinnamon rolls. Don't forget to ask for extra icing. Now, after we finish up in Fantasyland, for now, we can start heading over to Frontierland next. If your virtual queue boarding group number has been called, which you'll be alerted about on your phone just as soon as it happens, if you've got your phone's push notifications turned on, then you can go ahead and scan in for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Your return time will vary during your trip, so just keep an eye on which boarding group numbers are currently being called so you can get a rough idea for when you might be next in line. Either before or after making that splashdown in the bayou, you can hit up Big Thunder Mountain next, and depending on when your vacation is, you might be able to watch the Country Bears Musical Jamboree too, which officially opens on July 17th, so won't be long now. If you're still in Frontierland during lunch, you can grab a quick meal at Pecos Bill Tall Tale Inn and Cafe for some Taco Bell-like grub, or if you're looking for something a bit heartier, you can make reservations for either the Diamond Horseshoe or Liberty Tree Tavern over in Liberty Square. Both family-style restaurants serve the same Thanksgiving-style offerings and some of the best dessert on property too, that ooey gooey toffee cake. Let's go on an adventure over in Adventureland next. Jungle Cruise can get pretty packed by the afternoon, so if it's too busy for your liking, you can always hold off until your next Magic Kingdom visit later on in the trip. Or you can still get in line for it now if you don't mind a bit of a lengthy wait. Otherwise, head over to Pirates of the Caribbean, which has an indoor queue, making it more tolerable to wait in right now. Pirates also doesn't tend to get as busy as Jungle Cruise on a normal day. And make sure you wrap up your time in Magic Kingdom with the birds who sang the words over in Enchanted Tiki Room if you want. And to really cap off your time here, grab a refreshing Dole Whip from either Sunshine Tree Terrace or Aloha Isle. Now, we're not sticking around for Magic Kingdom's Nighttime Spectacular today. Instead, we're going to take a nice relaxing ride back to your Disney hotel so you and the fam can take a leisurely dip in the pool and have dinner and talk about what a great first day you had. Now, by dinner, I mean you can order some food at one of the restaurants inside the resort, or you can order in some DoorDash that you'll pick up in the front lobby, or you may even want to prep a meal if you went grocery shopping on the day of your arrival and you've got the means to do some cooking. The DVC Villas, that's Disney Vacation Club by the way, will have full kitchens at your disposal if you're in a one-bedroom or larger. And the family suites, like you'll find at Art of Animation and All-Star Music, will have little kitchenettes. Those will have a fridge, a microwave, a sink, sometimes a toaster, and various kitchen utensils. So yes, an easygoing day today. We're just going to get a bunch of rest so that we can keep going through the week. All right, day 2. The adrenaline is probably still pretty high from a successful first day and a good night's sleep, so let's do Disney's Hollywood Studios today. Since we're only going to spend one full day in Hollywood Studios, and we want to do as much as possible here, let's go ahead and purchase multi-passes for this one. Starting at 7 a.m., either 3 or 7 days before your visit, depending on what hotel you're staying in, you'll be able to pre-select one top-tier ride and 2 rides from the next level tier. My advice to you would be to select Slinky Dog Dash as your top-tier option, since that long little doggy tends to see the longest lines during the day. And then for your other 2 options, your best bets are going to be Tower of Terror and Toy Story Mania. So 2 colorful toy rides and 1 ride that tries to kill you. Perfect. The nice thing about multi-pass is that you'll be able to choose your return window for these rides, subject to availability. So the earlier you can book these for, the sooner you're going to be able to start making more Lightning Lane selections throughout the day. You can make your 4th Lightning Lane after you've used your earliest Lightning Lane return time. And while I'm not trying to jump the gun here or anything, I definitely recommend choosing your 4th Lightning Lane from that top tier list of options again if they're still available. Because once you're in the park, you can choose your next Lightning Lane for whatever you want, no matter what tier the ride falls into. Except, of course, if it's Rise of the Resistance, which is a single pass purchase. Since you'll have multi-pass helping you out during the day, you can take Hollywood Studios a little more leisurely. That being said, I'd still arrive here during that early theme park entry time, just to give yourself a 30-minute head start. Lots of folks are going to start their day in Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land to get in line for Slinky Dog and Rise of the Resistance just as soon as they can. But we're not going to follow suit. Instead, we're going to keep to the front of the park for now. See if we can jump into the main queue for Rock and Roller Coaster. That way we don't need to worry about prioritizing Lightning Lanes for it later on, unless we're looking for a quick rerun ride, of course. Recently, Fairfax Fair also started serving Mickey waffles in the morning too, so you can grab some breakfast while you're in the area. These ones aren't blueberry, just a standard kind, so if you're not wanting blueberry ones, just go to the next window over and get the regular ones. Now, I know we've been talking a whole lot about rides and lightning lanes, but don't forget to take that time during breakfast to check the My Disney Experience app for updated show times. Hollywood Studios is home to a lot of live performances that you won't want to miss, and if you're already over in the Sunset Boulevard area, then you'll be super close to the Beauty and the Beast live on stage theater. Showtimes for Beauty and the Beast tend to start around 11 a.m., so you can always kill a little extra time by checking out the Walt Disney Presents walkthrough tour, or maybe jumping on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway if the line is low. Anyway, after Beauty and the Beast, head to either ABC Commissary or Woody's Lunchbox for a quick lunch, since you still got a whole lot of ground to cover. As much as I love Woody's Lunchbox and their grilled cheese sandwiches and taco bowls, you may want to opt for ABC Com just for the indoor seating and AC. But if you're there in the winter and the weather's not too bad, then Woody's Lunchbox is a good option. Just not a lot of seating. It's totally your call. Eventually, you'll want to head back to Galaxy's Edge to explore the planet of Batuu during the day, but we're going to come back here at night too when the area's all lit up and way less busy. Rise of the Resistance may be super packed during this time because it tends to be the most popular ride in the park, even more popular than Slinky Dog sometimes. Unfortunately, we can't grab a Lightning Lane for this one through the standard multi-pass service since it requires a Lightning Lane single pass purchase, so we're going to gamble a little here and wait till the end of the day to ride it when the crowds die down a bit. But if you don't want to make that gamble, you can purchase a single pass for this one around the same time that you purchase your multi-pass. Typically, single passes for rides range around $15 to $25 per person per single ride through. While Galaxy's Edge has a lot of unique and otherworldly treats for you to try, we're actually going to step out of this section of the park and into Grand Avenue for our afternoon pick-me-up. Right outside the Muppet Vision 3D Theater, you're going to find an inconspicuous gelato cart with rotating flavors, including a Pog that's passion fruit, orange, and guava sorbet flavor that's quickly become one of our new favorites. So get yourself some gelato and enjoy it before stepping into all the Muppet Vision shenanigans. Now, the day is quickly zooming by, so don't forget about those other live action shows. At this point of the day, you may have to choose one live show over the other, so make sure to choose your must-do first. The shows you have to choose from here include Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular, Frozen Sing-Along Celebration, Disney Junior Dance Party, or if you're visiting later this fall, you might have the option to see the newest Hollywood Studios show, Little Mermaid, A Musical Adventure. Oh, now wait, you haven't had the chance to meet any Disney pals yet, right? Good thing Hollywood Studios has a bunch of them for you to choose from, but you'll have to check on those meet and greet times too over on the My Disney Experience app because they will wrap up hours before the official end of the park day. If you love warm hugs, be sure to say hi to Olaf for us over in the Celebrity Spotlight area at Echo Lake. On average, Olaf tends to meet and greet with guests in this location until 6 p.m. So again, make sure to keep track of the time. As you go about your day, watching shows and eating tasty treats, remember to keep collecting those lightning lanes. Remember, you no longer have that 2-hour cooldown window that you used to have with Genie Plus, where you could select another lightning lane even if you hadn't gotten the chance to use the last one yet after 2 hours had passed. So in order to make a new lightning lane now, you gotta use the ones you've already selected. If possible, I'd suggest trying to snag Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run as your 4th and 5th lightning lane options during your park day, just because their wait times on average tend to range around 30 to 45 minutes. All right, now we're going to do something extra fun and different for dinner. We've actually made advanced dining reservations for a Fantasmic Dining Package. Surprise! I knew you'd be excited. The Fantasmic Dining Package offers a meal at a participating restaurant in Hollywood Studios and reserves seating for a showing of the popular Fantasmic Nighttime Spectacular. You can choose from 50's Primetime Cafe, Mama Melrose's Ristorante Italiano, Hollywood and Vine, Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater Restaurant, and the Hollywood Brown Derby for this dining package. So fill in the blanks with which one you want to eat at the most, and that's the one we're going to choose for you today. Then, after we have a nice meal, we can get ready to enjoy our VIP seating for the show. Disney does request that you arrive at least 25 minutes before showtime to be seated in the reserved section, but seating begins 90 minutes prior to showtime. The entrance to the reserved seating is on Sunset Boulevard next to Beauty and the Beast, live on stage. All right, day 2 was a big day. Now you know why I told you to get that extra rest on day 1. We were go, go, go in Hollywood Studios from the very beginning to the bitter end, so let's use day 3 as our much-needed break day to avoid theme park burnout, which tends to happen during that 3rd day slump. This is your time to catch up on those Z's, so make sure to sleep in as much as you're able to. And by the way, this is another good reason to have a 7-day itinerary because you can fit in a couple of break days, and those are fantastic. Once the family starts stirring and is ready to start in on another day of fun, you can take a bus over to Disney Springs for some shopping and dining, maybe a few recreational opportunities too. Go up in that giant hot air balloon. Now, when it comes to sit-down meals here, we tend to recommend options like Homecoming for some southern eats, Morimoto Asia for a fine dining Asian cuisine situation, Haleo for Spanish tapas and paella, Raglan Road for some Irish-inspired dining and Riverdance entertainment when available, and the Boathouse for solid seafood and that fun Duck Duck Raz cocktail where you get to keep the rubber ducky topper. And for something quick, tasty, and more affordable, you can always turn to Chicken Guy for chicken strips and chicken sandwiches galore, and some really, really good mac and cheese. Earl of Sandwich for those hot sandwiches. Morimoto Asia Street Food for a small variety of Morimoto options without the extensive bill afterwards. The Basket at Wine Bar George for picnicky foods and wine slushes, and that incredible Millionaire shortbread, and Cooks of Dublin for Irish-inspired entrees, and that awesome beer cheese that I could eat like a soup. For a whole lot more suggestions and overviews and fun ways to dine around not just Disney Springs, but all of Disney World, be sure to check out our DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining. It's over at dfbstore.com. And if you want to purchase one, you can type in code YouTube to save some money. Now, if you're visiting Disney this summer, then be sure to stick around the Disney Springs area for Disney Dreams That Soar. This is a free nightly drone show that celebrates those Disney films that feature flight. It is very, very cool. Be sure that you choose the right place to watch it from, however. We've got a blog post on the site that gives you the best viewing locations. Now, this show is going to be happening twice each night until September 2nd. If you want to learn all about this show, including where to find the best viewing locations for it, search Disney Food Blog plus Dreams That Soar in your Google search engine to find our ultimate guide for it on our website. All right, we've made it to day 4. Let's ease back into things with a fun-filled day at Animal Kingdom. We're just going to go ahead and pre-purchase a single pass for Flight of Passage, just so we don't have to deal with the super long wait times for it later on. However, we'll go ahead and skip the multi-pass purchase, since this park doesn't have that many rides you'll need lightning lanes for. Choose a Flight of Passage return window that best fits your particular schedule. Alrighty, everyone, up and at 'em, because we're getting to Animal Kingdom early today to use our early theme park entry benefit and get in line for Navi River Journey, first thing. Along with Flight of Passage, the lines for this dark ride can get pretty intimidating by the middle of the day, so knocking it out early is going to play in your favor. After Navi River, let's grab a little breakfast from the Pongu Pongu window while we're still in the Pandora area. You can get breakfast items here like cinnamon rolls, the Pongo Lumpia, which is a pineapple cream cheese spring roll that I absolutely love, but it's kind of controversial, so I'd love to hear what you think about it. Or the Marshall's favorite stuffed pancake sandwich, made with sausage, guava jelly, egg, and cheese, but you can get it without the guava jelly. Now that we've got some breakfast in us, it's time to head up Kilimanjaro Safaris for a guided tour around the park's savannah. Going to Kilimanjaro earlier in the morning is going to be our best bet for seeing more animals out and roaming about during our ride-through, since they tend to hide away when those temperatures start creeping up in the afternoon. Depending on what time it is before your ride or after your ride, you'll want to get on your My Disney Experience app and join the Nomad Lounge waitlist when it opens up. This is one of our all-time favorite places to grab a bite and a drink inside the park, and those of you who follow our videos know that, but you can't make advanced dining reservations for it. It's walk-up only. So Nomad Lounge opens around 10:30 or 11 a.m. daily. Depending on how crowd levels look, you may be able to get into the lounge for lunch pretty quickly after you join the wait list, or you may have some time to kill before it's your turn. If you do have a lot of time to kill, you might want to consider roaming one or both of the wildlife trek trails. After your ride on Kilimanjaro, you can enter right into the first of the wildlife treks, Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. But if you still have more time to kill, you might also have time to squeeze in the Maharaja Jungle Trek too, over in the Asia section of the park. Okay, your tummies are full, you're nice and relaxed, and you're ready to take on the second half of your Animal Kingdom day, which means it's time to start watching some of those major stage shows. Depending on how you're doing on time, you might be able to squeeze in both of the big shows featured in this park. But if you're running a little behind, you might have to choose between Festival of the Lion King or Finding Nemo, The Big Blue and Beyond. There are no wrong choices here. Both performances are next level and a whole lot of fun, so it really just depends on which one you're more excited to see. I think it's time that you treat yourself to something cold and refreshing. If you're in a desserty mood, you might want to pick up a frozen Dole Whip treat from Tamu Tamu Refreshments, which will mean backtracking into the Africa section again, but those Dole Whip floats and pineapple crisp sundae are worth it. Or if you'd rather have something a little more hydrating, you can pick out one of the Joffrey's tea options from the Royal Anandapur Tea Company. By the way, this is also the only place across the parks where you can pick up a frozen chai. And is that frozen chai good? We love it here at DFB. Okay, all sugared up? Good, because we're going to go brave the mountains on Expedition Everest. We don't normally see the lines for this one peak past 20 to 30 minutes these days, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So if the queue is pushing past that 30-minute mark during your next visit, you might want to use the single rider line instead to potentially help cut down on your overall wait without needing a lightning lane to do it for you. But if you've got kids in tow, just get in the regular line because you don't want to split them up with that single rider line. Now, did you survive your tango with the Yeti? I hope so. And I hope you didn't get as sick as I always get when I ride that ride. Now, let's see if you survive your tango with a bunch of dinosaurs. Dinoland USA is on the verge of extinction since the Tropical Americas expansion is going to be taking its place, but you can still experience it in all of its Dino Bash glory for now. That means you can ride in a time rover to go catch that dino in Dinosaur, meet the Dino Bash characters like Daisy, Donald, and Chip and Dale in their cute little dino outfits, climb around in the boneyard if you've got little kids with you, it's super fun, take a flight on the Triceratops spin, and maybe even win an exclusive Dinoland plushie at one of the Fossil Fun amusement park games. Animal Kingdom on most days closes earlier than all the other parks, so you can grab dinner here, or you can wait and get something DoorDash to your hotel later on if you're looking to save some money on meals. But if you do want dinner in Animal Kingdom, our two favorite quick services here tend to be Satuli Canteen in Pandora for cheeseburger pods and customizable bowls, and Flame Tree Barbecue for barbecue. Typically, Animal Kingdom closes as early as 6 to 7 p.m., so while you totally can use the rest of your evening to go explore more parts of Disney World, maybe even doing a bit of resort hopping if you'd like, you can also take this chance to wrap up your evening at a decent hour and return to your room to take showers, watch a little TV, and go to bed at a decent time to get ready for Day 5. Are you excited? Because I'm excited. It is finally Epcot Day. This is another park where you're going to have to get up before 7 a.m. so you can snag those virtual queues for Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. You can also opt to purchase single passes for Cosmic Rewind instead for $14 to $17 per person per ride. We've been using that early entry benefit a whole lot during this trip, so if you want to skip it today to let your family squeeze in some extra Z's, I totally get ya, but I'd still recommend getting to Epcot at least close-ish to its opening time around 9 a.m. So you can jump in line for either Frozen Ever After or Remy's Ratatouille Adventure first thing. Those are the other two rides that are going to have long lines. That being said, there's a good chance that the lines for both of these rides will already be pretty extensive, and if that's the case, you got two options. One, you can purchase multi-pass for the day and grab lightning lanes for one of them ahead of time, but not both because they're on the same top tier, along with Soarin' Around the World, too. Now, your other option is you can just hold off on those two rides and see if their wait times die down by the end of the night and head over to the Land Pavilion first thing instead. I think we're going to go with the latter for today's itinerary, so it's off to Soarin' Around the World. Right after Soarin', you can hop on Livin' with the Land immediately after, and you absolutely should, or you can grab some breakfast from Sunshine Seasons first, and then after that, you can really take your Epcot day in whatever direction you want to go. There's really no reason to overly push yourself in Epcot because it's less of a ride all the rides sort of park and more of an explore all the different represented cultures type of place. And make sure to see what entertainment is happening over at the new Communicore Hall and Plaza while you're there. Even when an Epcot festival isn't happening, the Communicore area always has at least one or two things going on year-round, so check show times and see what's available over at the Festival Favorites kiosk, just in case they're featuring an item that you really want to try. Don't forget, that also opens at 9:30, so it's another secret place to get some breakfast. Okay, unpopular opinion alert. You are totally allowed to start your adventure around the World Showcase on whatever side you want to, though many Disney folks will tell you the right answer is starting on the left toward Mexico. But I'm going to ruffle some feathers and start in Canada today because I like starting my World Showcase day with a little maple popcorn and a gorgeous view of that gushing waterfall in this quiet pavilion. For lunch, you can either taste your way around whatever festival might be happening during your visit, if one is going on at the time, or you may want to grab a quick fish and chips at the UK pavilion over at the Yorkshire County Fish Shop. Now, if you do pick up some fish and chips, make sure to head over to the Rose and Crown dining room right after so you can eat your meal inside some AC. Don't forget, Rose and Crown's dining room is open for all Yorkshire County patrons to take advantage of just as long as you're there before Rose and Crown officially opens up for dinner. Dinner starts at 4 p.m., meaning typically the dining room will close around 3 p.m., so the cast members can get set up for those future table service guests. Looking for a nicer sit-down meal? Then stick around Canada a bit longer for lunch at Le Cellier, where you can order high-quality steaks and poutine and beer cheese soup too. That's what I always do. As you make your way around the World Showcase, be sure to take your time in each pavilion and explore all those little side shops and cultural exhibits. If you're afraid your kiddos are going to lose interest in these areas because they don't involve back-to-back rides and characters, it might be a good idea to introduce them to KidCot and or the DuckTales World Showcase Adventure via the Play Disney Parks app. KidCot fun stops are available inside each pavilion and give kiddos free activity kits to collect around the 11 countries, and DuckTales World Showcase Adventure is made up of 8 different interactive missions that give you the chance to join Huey, Dewey, Louie, and the rest of the DuckTales crew on a journey to hunt down the world's most precious ancient artifacts before they're stolen for good. In the middle of your showcase walkabout, you might start feeling a little bit peckish, so we recommend grabbing a small snack roll or two from places like L'Artisan de Glace in France, especially for those pressed brioche ice cream sandwiches, Caramel Kusha in Germany for lots of fresh caramel treats, the House of Good Fortune gift shop in China for unique potato chip flavors that you won't typically find on your grocery store shelves, and Kringla Bakeriag Cafe in Norway for lots of interesting Norwegian pastries. Drinking around the world is also a big thing for this park, since each country has its own specialty beers and wines and cocktails for you to try. But pace yourself and remember to drink responsibly if you want to partake. Also remember that La Cava del Tequila inside the Mexico Pavilion has a to-go window, which is super useful for this popular bar since it tends to be pretty packed all day long. I'd definitely stick around Mexico for a good long while if I were you, just as a little midday break to get out of the heat. After all, the majority of this pavilion is kept indoors to emulate that night market vibe all day long. You can also ride Grand Fiesta Tour, starring the Three Caballeros boat ride inside the Mexico Pavilion, which is super cute and tends not to rack up very long waits on average park crowd days. For dinner, consider grabbing a quick dinner from the Connections Eatery or continuing your taste testing around the festival booths. Or if you want something more on the table service side, we really like the character dining experience over at Garden Grill, located back in the Land Pavilion where you started, which serves unlimited comfort foods and a slowly rotating dining room. It's my favorite. You can also get a pretty good breakfast there, by the way, since you're starting with Soarin' anyway. When the sun goes down, that's when Epcot really gets great because this park has a lot of fun playing with color and light. This is a good time to check out sections of the park like the Journey of Water inspired by Moana walkthrough, Spaceship Earth with its Beacon of Magic shows that run every 15 minutes, and the World Celebration Gardens for those fun glowing pathways and illuminating beams that change colors to go along with the Beacon of Magic shows. At the very end of the night, stick around for the luminous fireworks, which take place over World Showcase Lagoon. Or if you haven't had the chance to ride Frozen Ever After or Remy's Ratatouille Adventure just yet, you might want to use this showtime to get in line for those instead, since the lines should be much more reasonable toward the end of the day. It really all depends on what you want to prioritize here, the fireworks or the dark rides. We have made it to day 6, and we started this trip with Magic Kingdom, and we're going to bookend it with Magic Kingdom 2. Once again, we're getting up at 7 a.m. to grab a virtual queue for Tron Light Cycle Run. We're also going to make sure to have a Lightning Lane single pass already pre-made for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train just to make sure we get on it, if it's a priority ride for you. You don't have to get to the park right when it opens this time if you'd rather sleep in a little bit before hitting the ground running. But if you happen to get to the park before 11 a.m., you can start your day off right with a Sleepy Hollow waffle over in Liberty Square. And depending on how the wait times are looking, you can board a Doom Buggy and ride Haunted Mansion either before or after waffle time. And don't forget to head to Memento Mori after your Haunted Mansion ride. Memento Mori is the official Haunted Mansion gift shop, meaning you can find lots of spooky trinkets and lots of hidden Easter eggs around the store. Ask a cast member to show you some of the ghosts in the shop, including the ever so elusive Lady in the Mirror. Then head over to Tomorrowland to do the ride/show circuit over yonder, as well as use your virtual queue if your boarding group number has been called for Tron around that time. This means you can experience attractions like Space Mountain, Carousel of Progress, People Mover, yay! Tomorrowland Speedway, People Mover again, Astro Orbiter, Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, probably the People Mover at this point, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, and I think you should probably ride the People Mover. Now, you don't have to do all of these because they are pretty time consuming, but just choose a handful you think your family's really going to vibe with and let me know how many times you ride the People Mover. Now, once you're done with the Tomorrowland circuit, we're actually going to leave Magic Kingdom for a little bit. I know, during those peak crowd times, let's get out of there. We're going to hop on the monorail and eat a late lunch at one of the nearby resorts. But where should we go? Okay, here are our options. Grand Floridian Cafe at the Grand Floridian Resort is a solid option, serving hearty brunch fare all day long. We're also pretty big fans of Steakhouse 71 at the Contemporary Resort. You can check on last-minute lounge availability there, too. You can get the stack burger either place, so it doesn't really matter. And while I could just eat my fill most anywhere around Polynesian Village Resort, I'm going to recommend Trader Sam's Grog Grotto or the Tiki Terrace for some light appetizers and fun and fruity drinks in an immersive tropical setting. But note, the Grog Grotto portion of this bar is where the real immersive and enchanted stuff takes place. And the wait list for the Grog Grotto fills up pretty quickly once it opens at 3 p.m. Tiki Terrace serves up the same menu as Grog Grotto and is easier to get a walk-up spot for, but again, you're not going to get into either of these for like an early lunch. So if it's pre-3 p.m., you just go ahead and head to Steakhouse 71 and grab that stack burger. And now we're heading back into Magic Kingdom to use our single pass for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, as well as hit up the shops around Main Street, USA. Just for fun, we've booked another fun fireworks experience for you and the Magic Kingdom dessert party. There are actually 3 different dessert parties you can choose to attend in Magic Kingdom: the pre-party, the post-party, or the Treats and Seats. Treats and Seats happens during the Happily Ever After show and takes place on the Tomorrowland Terrace patio, where you can clearly see the castle projections and fireworks without having to fight against crowds. Meanwhile, the pre and post parties will invite guests to stand in the Plaza Garden area, which also gives partygoers pretty good viewing of the entire spectacle. If you don't book one of these dessert parties, no biggie, you'll still be able to see Happily Ever After in all its tearjerker glory. Just make sure you stake out your spot to see the show about 30 minutes beforehand so you don't have to ride the struggle bus trying to find a decent viewing window at the last possible second. Now, it's almost time to wrap up our final day in Magic Kingdom. No, it's the worst, isn't it? I know. The exiting crowds after Happily Ever After are going to be bonkers, so you may want to use this last bit of park time to dive back into Magic Kingdom for a few last-minute rides. Remember, if the park hours extend past Happily Ever After, you can go ride stuff after the fireworks, but also don't forget that anything you get in line for right up till the minute the park closes, you will be able to ride. But even if the park is starting to close up right after the fireworks, the Main Street USA shops are going to remain open for a solid 30 to 60 minutes extra for any guests who want to make last-minute purchases before heading on out. Disney's not going to say no to your money. Take this opportunity to wait out the massive exiting crowds and maybe grab yourself some Casey's Corner corn dog nuggets before you wrap up this final chapter of your epic Disney World vacation, leading into the epilogue portion of our trip, Day 7. And here we are. We've made it a whole week in Disney World, which means it's about time for us to say see you real soon to Mickey and his pals. I'm not crying, you're crying. But if you're like us and you want to stretch out your vacation as much as you can before you have to go back to reality and work and bills and stuff, try to book a later flight or start driving out later in the evening so you can make one last loop around the Disney bubble to accomplish a few more things you haven't gotten around to just yet. I love building in a day here where you can kind of catch up on everything that you weren't able to do. Like if a particular ride was down and you wanted to ride it, or rained and so an outdoor ride was closed and you didn't get to do it, or if you wanted to visit a restaurant that you didn't get a chance to try. And maybe you want to do some stuff outside of the parks, mini golfing, have a water park day at Typhoon Lagoon or Blizzard Beach, or maybe even enjoy one last meal at a resort. Whatever you decide to do, even after you check out of your room, your Disney hotel will be more than happy to hold on to your luggage over at Bell Services for you while you make your final rounds. So we came and we saw and we conquered those Disney World parks, y'all. But there's still so much to see and do in Disney that we didn't get the chance to touch on today. Can you believe we were just scratching the surface here? So make sure to keep coming back to check on your friends at DFB for more tips and tricks and Disney news to come. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.